So next slide, if you look at what happened to the equity markets. So we begin with the Nikkei starting from 1998. January 1998 as 100, and this is where it is today, followed by the German major equity index of the DAX, followed by the British FTSE, the S&P, and Tel Aviv 100. By the way, this isn't fair. Tel Aviv is an emerging market. All of these other markets are not emerging. Usually, an emerging market and emerging equity market, what that would mean is that on average you would get a higher return, but the standard deviation would be much higher as well. So what usually would happen, and you can see that in 2000. In 2000, Israel's Tel Aviv 100 went up considerably, but then it went down very forcefully. Thank God I was back then. I was in the Ministry of Finance, so the no bonuses, but at least I had a job. So that was the 2000 year, and what you can see today is different. We see this drop in all over the equity indices all over the world. Israel's equity index fell about the same as the S&P, and you know what? The action should not be, oh really? This is great for Israel. The answer, the reaction should be, why did it fall as much as the S&P? We do not have the problems. We're not the problematic market over here. Today, you would have to use a magnifying glass to find the signals of a slowdown in Israel. You can't find them. They're very minute right now, but it's on the way. There is no scenario in which the U.S. goes into a slowdown and Israel does not. That scenario does not exist. But the equity markets are doing, well, not that bad. They're doing, I'd say it differently. They're doing as bad as all of the other equity markets in the world today. And know this guy. Yeah, this is a major guru in the U.S. He's a hero for Israel's business and economy. And what Warren Buffett did back in 2006, his first acquisition outside of the U.S. was in Israel. It wasn't in Mexico, it wasn't in Canada, it wasn't in Japan. It was in Israel. And he bought it's not a high-tech company, Isco. But when asked about it, he said, well, yeah, Israel is known for its startups and its high-tech. But this is not necessarily a high-tech company, and this is what I bought. By the way, he was also asked back in the summer of 2006, this is your first acquisition out of the U.S. and you go to Israel. Aren't you scared that this is maybe a dangerous economy to invest in? And his answer was, it's dangerous everywhere. Today, again, if you look at the economy, I'm not sure that the U.S. economy is not, well, dare I say it, is not more dangerous to invest in than the Israeli economy. So this is Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett back in 2006, when you see the FDI, Foreign Direct Investment, 2006 is Warren Buffett's. That's about $4.5 billion, and that still is considered to be, one of the greatest acquisitions that foreign acquisitions that Israel has ever had. We had a giant computer working on this all night long, and what it came out with in the morning was that this sort of a deal happens every 59 years in Israel. So we have a further 59 years to go, but the next deal, the next huge, humongous deal is on its way. By the way, part of this, I'd say this. See this over here? You don't. But this over here, that's about $300 million. This is my company that used to belong to an Israeli bank. And following one of the capital market reforms in 2005, the banks had to sell their mutual funds and provident funds. So my whole company was sold to a New York-based private equity fund, which is called Your Capital Management. I have no idea if you've heard about it. But they're situated in New York, came to Israel, saw what they liked, put down $300 million, and that's it. So it's over here. Almost, well, for some of us, much more dramatic than the Iscar deal. So, and 2007 is over. No one big, humongous deal, but still 2007, not too shabby at all. So you see here the foreign direct investments in Israel. I'm not going to show you I do have a graph showing foreign direct investments of Israelis abroad, which is about the same. In recent years, it has been about the same. Unfortunately, I have no idea why, but they're not buying Wall Street, which is, that's a fire sale. They are buying real estate in the U.S., in Eastern Europe, but a lot of Israeli investors are in real estate, no subprime. But yeah, they are in real estate in New York, in Las Vegas, and in Eastern Europe. And so, who knows? And Howard, this is my 3 minutes to you. So we're talking about Israel's growth rate has been 5% plus for the past 4 years. It's going to go down. Again, there is currently no real sign of a slowdown in Israel, but it has to be there. It has to be there if the U.S. is on a slowing path. So yeah, it's going to go down. OECD, that's well, we always feel that we have been there. So we're going to be formally introduced into the OECD within the next year or two. The credit rating was upgraded in 2007. By the way, it had absolutely no impact on Israel's equity and fixed income market for the simple reason that it's all been priced in. It's all been priced in for at least the past 2 years. And yeah, the macroeconomic indicators, as good as or better than the indicators that you'd find in most industrialized economies, including the U.S. And then we have the emerging market-like returns on fixed income and equity investments. And last but not least, the equity market is considered to be defensive among emerging markets, which means that on good years, you're not going to see a return of 50 or 60%, which you will find in good years in China, Brazil, or Russia. You're not going to find that in Israel. But in bad years, you're not going to find a drop of 50, 60%, which you might find in the other emerging market. By the way, it's also defensive because a lot of the companies, the blue chip companies, are, well, some of them Teva, that has nothing to do with Israel. This is a huge pharmaceutical company, one of them, I think maybe the biggest in the world. It has nothing to do with Israel. It's located, it's based everywhere. So this is a major part of the Tel Aviv 25 index. Other major companies in Israel, listed in Israel and usually duly listed in NASDAQ as well, are high tech. Again, that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Israel's economy or with Israel being an emerging market. So in that sense, this is a defensive emerging market. And by the way, in January, which was an awful year, an awful month for equities around the world, we had foreigners buying equities in Israel because of that reason. So as you can see, and this is, by the way, 3-4 years ago, this presentation would have looked totally different. I'm going to say, 4 years ago, this presentation would not have existed. There was no capital market in Israel worth mentioning. Things are different today. Thank you very much.